Hello, all. Today we have one more renowned guest to our series of podcasts this season, especially for the D2C brands, right? So we have Morgan Decker, who is the director of marketing at Andie. It's a swimwear brand for women. So yeah, welcome, Andie. We want to take you through our platform of the GrowthFit series, and definitely our audiences are eager to learn from your experience. Okay, what you kind of doing in the marketing field.
Yeah, great to meet you, Ashen. Excited to chat today.
Thanks, Morgan. So let's begin with one question. What's been, can you help me out with one effective marketing campaigns which you have led recently, that worked out so well?
Sure. At Andie, we are a women's online swimwear brand. So, like a lot of fashion brands, the pillars of our campaigns are usually around new collection launches, any sort of
Mhm.
promotions we have, or core collections. Um, Most recently, I would say our most successful campaign launch has been our spring 2 campaign. We launched a collection called the Seashell Escape collection. The swimwear is just very striking and really strong styles. The photography is really great. And then from a marketing standpoint, of course, your campaigns are only as strong as the assets you have. It's a truly a team effort. Just the imagery and the styling of that campaign really, really popped. Literally, we as soon as we put it on social media, we launched on Meta and TikTok. The click-through rates of the engagement was off the charts. We were able to really lean into efficient scaled spend, and those launch emails that we had for that campaign were actually our most profitable year to date, but more than any sort of promotions we've run or anything like that, which is really a testament to how
Got it. Got
well
it.
it resonated with our audience. So, yeah.
Cool. And what do you think about building, a marketing funnel, that not only drives the conversions but also creates a long-term brand value, right? How do you think about these instant conversion thing with respect to the brand value which it can create so that it sticks with your customers, right?
Sure. At Andy, we do a lot of broad targeting, so we don't do a lot of traditional funnels. That
Mhm.
has to do with swimwear is a relatively short consideration cycle. We don't necessarily have like a super long tail cycle for people that are looking to buy a swimsuit. Usually, it's relatively timely. You're going on a vacation, you see an ad, you make a purchase. We utilize some targeting that I would say is somewhat funnel esque for certain collections that we have. So we have our core collections that we're known for, which are evergreen styles that we have all year round. And for those campaigns, we only have net new customers targeted towards them. So we um, exclude anyone that's already familiar with the Andie brand who has made a purchase. And then whenever
Understood.
we have new collection launches, we have zero exclusions and we just keep everything relatively broad because fashion on top of swimwear is also just very unique. If you see something, you buy it. Um, Funnels are not as applicable. But when you look at email and SMS, we definitely tailor a lot of our messaging to be more education focused, really get into some of the value props at Andy. We're founded by women, we're run by women. We use recycled eco nylon fabrics, and we really try to stand for sustainability. Um, and we like to educate our consumers. How do you take care of your swimsuit? Let's make sure this lasts for a long time. Outside of email and SMS, we don't utilize any sort of like traditional funnel just because of the nature of swimwear. It's just a unique category.
Okay, correct. Got it. And one question in that same context, right? Now, say, okay, you brought the visitors onto your website, showcasing the content, what it makes sense there, right? So, like once they land onto the website, right? See, the Andy is one such brand. It's about the material what you use. Okay, it's like, and also, how, what do you think about the science, educating your audience regarding science behind that thing, or okay, like why they should, buy this sort of the thing, right? So like how is important to understand and what it makes feel so comfortable, rather than okay, showcasing that it is comfortable, right? So I want to learn from you, your understanding. How do you take the two aspects, right? So
Yeah, so we lean into education of products primarily
Mhm.
on our product description pages and our PDPs rather than our collection pages, just to keep everything relatively streamlined. So if you go on our PDPs, our e-commerce team does a really great job in laying out different customization angles. So we have your different torso lengths, fabric descriptions, how much coverage does this swimsuit have? Like, are you looking for something that's compressive? Are you looking for something that's a little more relaxed? How do you
Right.
take care of the fabric and the detail? And then what other features does the swimsuit have? Does it have removable cups? Does it have adjustable straps?
Mhm.
And yeah, so outside of that, our collection pages are relatively standard. We want you to just scroll, shop the collection, and explore everything we have to offer. Um, but the PDPs is really where we get deep into what does this product give you and like what are you excited about essentially.
Got it. Got it. Makes sense. Makes sense. And also, when it comes to I want to understand your take with respect to the personalization, right? How important is it for the D2C brands, and what is its right personalization versus too much of the personalization thing, right? For example, I see that there are certain brands that use their names and all those things, that may look, you know, kind of personalized, but it's kind of getting very scared sort of the thing, right? Until unless okay, you are that much well asset with the with your website and with the brand thing, right? So how do you think, okay, what's the role of the personalization that will help the brands to achieve that conversion optimization, right? I want to understand from your experience, like what's your take with respect to the personalization thing?
Yeah, there's a lot of elements of personalization that can really help with conversion, such as like having a seamless sign on experience to your website. So if I've been to your website before, I'm signed up to your email. If I'm not either staying logged in or I'm getting like a pop up when I shouldn't be to like get on your email and SMS list, even though I'm already on your email SMS list, that's an experience that's not personalized towards me that feels really intrusive that would probably make me leave your website. Um,
Mhm.
so things like that are key in terms of just like tracking the consumer and knowing who they are from a personalization standpoint. And then from a retargeting standpoint, from a nurturing standpoint, understanding a lot about your product and consumer. So if we know our like flagship swimsuit essentially is the black Amalfi one piece, and we
Mhm.
know with a certain amount of probability, once you have the black Amalfi and you love that swimsuit, your second purchase is most likely going to be like the Maui top with our high waisted bikini bottom. So
Got it.
just understanding different product journeys and how our consumer relates to those and being able to cater and serve them and then just identify who they are correctly. I think those are probably some of the most important areas of personalization that really get overlooked when it comes to just like making sure you have a clean and seamless user experience. It's not going to block someone from converting.
Right, right. Makes sense. And also, what I see is like, these days, even the ads, see, say that, okay, you're targeting a specific segment of audience, like, say, specific age group or specific, location specific thing, or, based on, okay, what kind of the things which they are saving. This sort of the category that may make sense more there, right? So as a marketer, I have all sort of the freedom in this world to create a right ad, right, use the right messaging, use the right keywords to get the attention and all, right? Now once someone clicks that ad when they land onto the website, right? So what I see is like, if it's the same plain element over there, right? A lot of time that creates a friction that what I saw you in your ad, okay, what I thought it gonna look like, and when I'm coming onto your site, okay, what you're showcasing it to me over there, right? If there is a different thing, there is a friction that builds up, that a very top of the funnel, and eventually there is a kind of a resistance, and then people will bounce off from the site, right? So like how do you take in this aspect, like what can be done, okay, in sense the moment when someone lands onto the website, okay, from your ad or your campaign, anything, right? So there can be first time visitor versus a repeat visitor, right? So what sort of the ingredients we need to mix up, say, for the first time visitors, to get that trust factor building, or to get them engaged with the content what we are showcasing, or how can you create that FOMO sort of the thing that, yeah, this is the thing, okay, I need to go and quickly check out, right? So or like, I just want to understand from your angle, right from the ad thing to that checkout or button, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. Obviously, as a large e-commerce brand, we have a lot of different links on our website that we can utilize and we drive traffic towards ads. So we have our homepage is always a standard, making sure that the imagery is striking, that we're
Mhm.
advertising our newest and greatest collections. We have any call outs to any sort of promotions we have. So we always have like free shipping on orders of over $175, but we're running a promo through the weekend of free ground shipping on all orders. So making sure that's really prevalent as you navigate through the site. If we're leading to a PDP, so a product description page where we're leading towards a sole product, we can lead someone directly to our website experience, but we're also doing some testing with a few landing page vendors where it's an extension of the ad. So when you click on a UGC native ad, that ad actually continues playing when you go to the PDP, and then you can scroll down. And that's something that we've been playing with to enhance conversion. Um, there's also a few pages on our site, our collection pages, our merchandising team does a really great job working with our e-commerce team to make sure the most popular styles or the
Mhm.
styles that need the most product movement are for surface towards the top of the page. We put in blocks that have education called out around some of our value props of our swimsuits, such as fabric descriptions in different colors that can help like essentially sort of convert a sale. And then we have different call outs with novelty, so on and so forth. So,
Yeah.
really, depending on the objective and the test, I feel like honestly, diversity is key. Like, we've done a lot of clean A B testing of like, let's bring this ad to a collection page versus the
Yeah.
PDP and see what happens. But I feel like results always flip flop. So, it's like consumers are just looking for something new at the end of the day. It's just about continuously testing and playing within the elements that you have.
Right, right, and that's one of the thing which I also see many of our customers also do, right? Like one A/B testing was whether we make them land onto the the PDP page or the PLP collection page, or
Mhm.
we make them see that various different variants on them on the page so that their RH cart value can increase, right? So there is always there is a kind of friction like this works or that works. That also based on whom you're exactly targeting. It's a new visitors, okay, they're coming onto your website for very first time. Okay, if you take them to the collection page, they see that platform, like it's they see a lot of things over there and they get easily confused and they may drop, right? Or say, okay, if you for the first time visit, if you make them directly land on the PDP page, get them that one thing on their cart and get them check out, right? So that's a different experience, right? It's all about it's all about experimenting. Okay, basically even in the A/B testing world where we primarily serve, right? It's all
Yeah,
about what works, what not, right? It's not always you're trying to derive a winning variation. It's also about for you to understand, like that knowledge, what we thought, okay, that whatever the hypothesis which we had in mind, so is that really making sense out there or what, right? So
exactly.
that's the thing. Any popular or any kind, like currently what sort of the A/B test you team is doing? Can you please throw some light or interesting A/B test which you guys did, and that worked really well? And also I want to understand some experiment which you did, it kind of negated what your hypothesis was, but then
Yeah.
also it's a kind of a serious learning, right? Can you just help us share those two angles of that?
Sure. So we just launched a landing page test last week where I was saying before we have a PDP that's an extension of the ad experience. So if you click on like the UGC native ad, some of
Mhm.
our highest levels of investment are in user generated content on Meta and
Got it, got
TikTok.
it.
So essentially, these landing pages specifically extend the ad experience. So when you click on it, it still has a video continuously playing at the top.
Mhm.
And then when you scroll down, it's a specific PDP for that swimsuit that's in the video. And then it's a very, it sits like right on top of our website. So it's a separate experience from andieswim.com. The curation of the page is a little bit different in terms of optimization towards mobile. And we've been testing that. And although it has a very small threshold of spend behind it currently, the
Okay.
conversion rates have been really high. We've been doing a lot of testing with our campaign structures. It's the end of April right now. So for a swimwear company, we're obviously like getting right into the thick of our peak season. So this is when we end up being the busiest just because of demand. Um,
Sure, sure.
so we've been doing a lot of restructuring of our Meta and our TikTok accounts as well to try to optimize reach at the lowest CPM possible, while trying to maintain efficiency. So there's always something that we're testing. Um, and sometimes it's a little counterintuitive. There's been CPMs on Meta are like the highest they've ever been historically. So something we've been doing to combat that is we actually have drastically increased our manual investments from ASC campaigns because the CPMs are around half the price.
Right,
So
right.
that's been something that's been really, it sounds counterintuitive to say, why are you taking all of your spend from these automatic AI driven campaigns and bringing
Correct,
them
correct.
to manual
Mm.
campaigns? It feels super backwards, but it's really been able to extend our ad dollars in a very meaningful way. And yeah, there's always something that we're playing with in some capacity. That was a hypothesis. I was like, there's no way that moving all of these assets into a manual campaign is going to give us the results we're looking for, and it has.
Mm.
We've also been turning on very old ad sets that are like 2, 3 years old sometimes that
Got
are
it.
historical top winners. And the algorithm has just been carrying over old prices, old targeting. And at first we were just like, we don't sell the swimsuit anymore. Is this a really bad experience for the consumer by turning on these ads? But we've just been changing the landing pages and we haven't received any complaints, and the conversion rates are really high and they're performing really well. So it
Right.
just goes to show sometimes you can have a theory about, like, if you have a swimsuit ad on that you don't have in stock and you're leading someone to a collection page that doesn't have it, that's going to have a bad experience. But we're actually seeing really high conversion rates and optimization
Oh,
rates off of some
yeah.
of those ads. So it just kind of goes to show sometimes as the brand, you're a little too close to the product and you're a little too close to it to like zoom out and think like a customer when you're dealing with your own ecosystem. So it's a little friendly reminder that, sometimes you just need to move fast and break things and see what sticks and what doesn't.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, this really makes sense. Right. So it's what I even actually observed some of our clients. Right. Simple thing what they had. Okay, there is a huge change in the conversion. Even kind of mind blowing. Even we are also learning, though we are the owners of the product thing, but still actually every day is a learning for us. Like for example, I will share you recently. There was one D2C brand, huge traffic and all. All they did was just next to that shop now button, right? They just added one more text pipe, 20% savings, right?
Mm-hmm.
They created one more variation in same thing. Okay, they added, okay, instead of directly saying 20% all, they directly started saying that how much of the worth you are saving, like say $200 savings, right? So, and one more version they created, they added a simple, a small text below the add to, basically add to cart button, sorry, the checkout button. They said that we are as safe as Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now they were showcasing it to the first time visitors.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, repeat, okay, they get to know that, okay, how, they already bought your purchase, bought product from you and all, but someone is coming from very first time, right? You're showing a variation, especially, you know showcasing the trust that we are as secured as Amazon, right? So that's certainly, started, okay, winning the con. It's all about the experimental thing, right? So it's not that huge difference what they got, that got some 7% jump in the improvement in the conversion rate, okay, with respect to first time visitors. And the other things, like they also added this lock symbol, the shield symbol next to the checkout button and all, that got 1 or 2%, something of that sort. But it depends, okay, how you target. Like I want to tell you one other thing also, right? One of our customer, they what they did was, one of the biggest perfume brand in India, they kind of blurred out the entire reviews and rating section, right? So I was also a bit confused when they showed me that this is what actually they, and my team showed me that this is the experience what they made live, right? So ask them, how dare you to go and blur out the reviews and rating section, because that's the thing which people 100% look out, right? Then only they go and make a purchase, right? they what they want to understand is, a person would have read 1 or 2 reviews before giving up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now if you make that person at least read couple of more reviews, okay, then how is that impacting the conversion, right? So what they did was they kind of blurred out the entire reviews and rating section. On top of that thing, they added this text telling that, okay, we can say 100 thing about our products. You no need to believe what we are saying. Just check, read this, just check this happy 300 plus customers what they're saying about us.
Mhm.
And also they added one emotional line over there is all we request you to read at least 10 reviews and the reveal button. The
Yeah.
moment they click the reveal button, the blurring will go off. Since they explicitly read that thing, right? So if not 10, at least they will read two extra reviews, right? And how is that impacting the conversion, right?
Yeah.
So various cases over there, okay, where you can go and check, okay, basically you will have some hypothesis in mind, right? So and then actually whether to go and check whether that really works or not, right? But as I
Mhm.
mentioned, simple thing, just adding that next shop now button, okay, just a 25% savings, or okay, this much exactly is the saving thing, that got amazingly, okay, 28 to 30% somewhere improvement over there. Small
Wow.
segment what they tested, right? For I also got a bit surprised. Wow, we do so many things to improve the conversion. They guys changed one line right under the bottom that got, okay, change the entire journey.
Mhm.
Right. So cool. So I want to understand next from your side, right? What does your content marketing strategy looks like when it comes to the UGC thing? Like, how big is the UGC, or content, for like how much the brand should focus on the UGC or spend on the UGC when compared to the other channels what currently you have?
Yeah. So we have our influencer investment is more so for Spark and whitelisting. We do have a senior manager of social media and influencer that sources out on the brand side to utilize for organic, but I'm in charge of performance and paid. So the way that I interact with UGC is we do sourcing probably about 80% through an agency and 20% in house to utilize for Spark and whitelisting ads on Meta and TikTok. It really depends on your category, but within swimwear, UGC is something that performs incredibly well for us. Being able to have that like client testimonial and being able to see our swimsuits on different types of bodies, in different types of people, in different situations, like whether
Yeah.
they're trying it on in their bedroom, they're at a pool, they're at a beach, really letting this quality of the product speak through itself through the talent that you're like collaborating with is something that works really well. Like, and I think that's sort of priceless, especially with a sensitive category like swimwear. Sometimes
Mhm.
people are sensitive about their bodies and how they look, and being able to see a woman that's an everyday human that's not a supermodel on our website and say, this swimsuit makes me feel like comfortable. This swimsuit makes me feel sexy. I feel secure. Like, I don't feel like I'm going anywhere.
Mhm.
It's just a much easier sell because it's easier to relate to than like the 90-pound model in an ad. So UGC is huge for us, and we rely on a lot of different content creators across the entire US to really just sort of share their stories, their experience with our swimwear, which is really great.
Good. In that, you guys are also focusing on this, micro influencers or nano influencers sort of the thing, or you're going only with the tier one, the cream of the influencers. Like, how is your, like, how do you guys prefer?
We use a lot of micro and mid-tier influencers for a lot of our content. We have worked with a lot of celebrities and people that have very large followings, but honestly, it's less about the size of the audience and more how the content resonates. Usually, if
Good.
you're working with a micro or a smaller influencer, you're probably going to get something that feels more authentic. It usually is. Like, they're usually really excited to be able to promote a product. Like, they are really invested in it, whereas a celebrity that gets gifted hundreds and hundreds of products a day and they just plop it on their story, it just doesn't have the same impact. So I'd say authenticity is key there over just like follower clout on social.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Good, good, great. So on that line, I have one more question. Like, okay, see, we got all these, make people come to on the website. Okay, they got connected to the content what you're showcasing over there and all, right? So, what's your take with respect to the measurable impacts? Like, how do you measure, or how do you keep tracking, like what work, what not, where to improve? Any sort of the tools you use, or you have your own runway book which you go through every day with your team, right? So how do marketers when they run any of these things, right? what's the best way to keep track of what's happening, where to invest, or any hacks or okay, kind of tweaks which you want to suggest so that they can also write it down.
Yeah, absolutely. So, being able to have a strong reporting structure to know what's happening is key. So, being able to have your hierarchy of information, I have some very, very robust reports where we
Mhm.
have a super seasonal business. So it's really difficult for us to look at week over week trends or month over month trends because people aren't buying swimwear in March, but they start to in April. So when it comes to growth and optimization, we need to be able to see everything from not only a day over day perspective, but year over year. Just because of our seasonality, it makes a month or a week look back totally irrelevant depending on the time of the year. Um, and then also being able to have summaries where I have a very high level overview of how the entire business is running from
Mhm.
a MER perspective. So I can look at our blended ROAS across all channels, what is our marketing efficiency ratio, and how are we pacing like day over day and year over year from a launch standpoint, from an evergreen day standpoint, from a promotional period standpoint. Where are we pacing towards our forecast for the month? Are we going to be able to hit our goals? Do we need to adjust? But within that as well, it's really important to know the numbers that are making up that main number. So I have reports that link out from a blended top line, this is how my business is doing perspective, to every single channel breakdown from paid search, paid social, affiliate, email, SMS, direct and organic traffic, and being able to look at that entire ecosystem. You can see, okay, if my numbers are down from a day over day perspective, what caused this decline, and being able to look at your spend investment, your the amount of like what is the cost per view to driving someone to your website, like what is the ROAS on a specific channel. That'll give you the insight that you need to say, oh, this is interesting, we saw our cost per an order spike on Google yesterday. I can then go in Google Ads and say, oh, we paused out a branded search campaign. And that's why we saw loss in efficiency because of a shift in strategy to invest in non brand. So just being able to look at your top line view as well as the trends that are rolling up and being able to kind of differentiate between the two, I feel like is key to being a strong marketer, just because the devil's in the details, but you also need to learn how to communicate performance at a high level because most people that you communicate with every day, whether that's being your CEO, your CFO, your COO, they don't need to know the same level of nuance you do. So you need to be able to summarize what's happening at the business, but also understand the why behind it.
Understood. Yeah, true. That's a very really great input. Right. So with respect to the competitive analysis, right? Maybe in your business there is so much of competition, and also it's a kind of seasonal thing, right? The competition thing will start right okay, when near to the season, right? So as a marketer, right, what we need to think about the competition in sense like we need to like how aware we should be when compared analyzing not only just campaigns like what we are running, also all these competitors who are near to us, okay, so just want to understand from that angle of how basically there is a saying, right, okay, keep your friends close and
Your
your
enemies
competitors
closer.
closer.
Yeah.
How,
So
what's your
I
take as a marketer specifically? Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a bit of a hot take on this, quite frankly. So we obviously like always looking at what our competitors are doing. If they're running a promotion during a sale period where we're not running something, if there's a huge sale period, Memorial Day is a huge sale period, especially in swimwear because it's the kickoff of the season. And so we're always looking at what is our site offer versus other site offers. Like, do we think this is competitive?
Mhm,
We're looking at different people's collection launches, what's trending in the space of fashion right now. We recently launched a
mhm,
collection that had terry cloth material as well as eyelet material. So we're looking at what other novelty fabrics or other swimwear brands launching this
mhm,
summer. Are we on trend? Is it relevant? Are we giving our customer the right promotion? But even though we watch all of that, my hot take is that honestly, people will buy what they want. Like, it's important to see what other people are doing, but just because an ad treatment works for one of our competitors, it doesn't mean it's going to work for us. And just because they did a collection launch that also had terry cloth and eyelet that didn't do well doesn't mean it's not going to work well for us. So I like to kind of keep on my blinders at a certain extent and continue optimizing on our wins and our successes rather than jumping on bandwagon trends or looking at what others are doing in the space. Because realistically, like, if someone is an Andie customer, they're coming to us for a reason. We're giving them something they want. We can see what other brands are doing all day, but realistically, like, the competitive set doesn't always carry over, and she's going to buy what she wants. We can't control what our customer is going to do. So we just need to look at our own performance, our own benchmarking, and then get better by like utilizing ourselves as an example. So that's kind of how I like to operate. And that's kind of my hot take.
Makes sense. Makes sense. This is what it should be. And with respect to these offers, what you mentioned, right? What do you think? Like, basically, a lot of brands, they kind of throw the offers, right? Always when you come onto the website, you see this discount or that discount completely running on, right? So, like, like, say that as a visitor, when I come onto your site or, okay, anyone's site, right? So I always look at, hey, at this time it looks like there is some promotion is not going on. Let's wait for that thing, right? Versus, okay, you provide that person, okay, in the right specifically targeted offers, or which he can, instead of making him wait for that period, okay, why can't you have the sale happen at that very moment, because he coming with the intent to buy. But since there is a kind of friction because he's not seeing the right pricing over there, the chance what he has, right? Okay, two choice what he has, right? Whether he can wait, he or she can wait, basically she can wait, or she can go to other site and start
Mhm.
browsing it there, right? So in this case, what's your take with respect to the offers a brand should start showing? Or it should be a kind of standardized, or okay, or it's always okay, like I see these things like buy four, like even there are certain things like if you buy two you'll get two, or like, buy X for Y sort of the thing, right? So like from your angle, right, what do you think the stubble offering or discounting on the website that makes visitor feel always gratified for that thing?
Absolutely. So I feel like there's a large trend going on in online marketing in general. A lot of people I talk to across brands are running into the same issue. We're really trying to train our consumer, like retrain our consumer. So historically, um, like we relied on a lot on promotional periods to get someone to convert on our website. So
Mm.
we cut the number of promotions, like promotional days we had in our calendar from 2023 going into 2024 by about 30% from 2024 into 2025. We're trying to get that number down to like 20%. So we're only discounting on 20% of the days of the year. We someone will that wants to buy on sale will always buy on sale. So like that's not the person we're trying to optimize for. We're really
Got it.
trying to optimize for the customer that's being really intentional, that wants to buy a swimsuit before it's sold out and has broken sizing on the sale tab of our website. We're looking for someone that's being really intentional. This is the style I want. This is what I want to buy. And I'm okay if I pay full price for that. We do offer a new customer discount for people that are new to the brand, as a lot of people do. We offer 15% off your first order. And then we obviously offer incentives for free shipping. If you get your cart over $175, you get free shipping and free returns within the first 14 days. But honestly, it's not like you don't want to discount your brand overly because that just
Correct.
cheapens your product. At that point, you might
Exactly.
just lower
Exactly.
your prices. But it is definitely a bit of a juggling game to figure out, okay, like what is the balance of promotional activity versus full price? Because when people start to get, you train your consumer to look for a sale every month, they'll wait for that sale every month, and you'll see the differences in consumer behavior. So we've done a lot to try to reduce the amount of discounting that we do as a business, but it has definitely come at a bit of a price where it's a lot of retraining of our consumer. We've had to allocate our spend differently throughout the month in and out of promotional periods,
Got
really trying to stagger different things to increase conversion around collection launches so we can optimize off of full selling of our price and so on and so forth. So it really depends on your product, it depends on your brand, but really just understanding that once you get in the promotional wheel, it's really hard to get off that ride and just to approach it really cautiously.
True, 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 Morgan. That's very true. So one thing, like for example, okay, in your angle, right? What's one marketing tactic or trend do you think it's kind of overhyped, and according to you, it's still underrated right now?
Underrated. Honestly, doing a few things really well is underrated. Like, I'm constantly bombarded with new vendors, new tools, new, like the next new toy that you need as a marketer, or the next channel frontier that you need to be
Mhm.
on. But quite frankly, if you don't have a super large budget under your belt, it's a lot better to keep things simple and really
Right.
hone in on what you're good at and optimize and master what you're good at before you go
Go on.
like spray and pray and just like hope some of these other efforts work out. My first summer at Andie, um, Andy's a very different size business than a lot of places I've worked before. I've worked at like HelloFresh, National Geographic. I've worked
Mhm.
at really small startups where I was the first hire pre-series A. I haven't really worked with a brand the size of Andy before. So my first summer, I really went the opposite approach and I wanted to do a lot of testing. I launched like 4 new channels. I tried to diversify in a lot of different ways. But unfortunately, that just ended up diluting our time, our energy, and our spend
Mhm.
away from the channels that we knew were strongest for us. So it's kind of, it depends on how much you have to spend and how much you have to allocate towards a test and whether or not you have the allocated spend to be able to properly invest in a test to understand what's working and what's not. If you're only allocating a small percentage towards a test, you're not going to be able to see the incremental lifts. So it's better to just consolidate and optimize where you're good, which can be kind of a double-edged sword. We're very heavily invested in Meta. If anything happens to Meta, like there goes like 75% of my
Yeah.
marketing budget every single month. So it's risky, but also it's better than diluting your efforts. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Makes sense. This is really great advice. I should, even actually, I want to go and talk to my team on this thing. Good, good. Always, it's try to keep the things simple over there. You have a lot of things running, right? So one last question. Okay, so we can conclude this thing. Say one advice which you want to give for your, younger yourself, right? Just started marketing. Like say you just okay run back behind your memory lane. So if you want to give one advice to yourself in this marketing side, what is that one thing which you want to make it correct, or which you want to spend some time on?
I would say if I could give my like younger self advice, it would be I said this earlier, move fast and break things. I can't emphasize that enough. I used to be a really big perfectionist across
Okay.
multiple areas of my life, and I found it really hard sometimes. Like I would get defeated if I tested something and it didn't work out, or I would feel really nervous being like I can't send that report or that synopsis, or I can't launch this thing until this other thing is perfect. And nothing is ever going to be perfect. It's more important to move quickly and get it done than it is for it to be buttoned up 100%. Nobody's looking at it under the microscope that you are. And it's more important to just continuously evolve and adapt and be really responsive than it is to make sure that everything is like buttoned up to a T, because realistically, it's not that serious. So I would move fast and break things is
Yeah, yeah, everybody has that same sort of advice. Even I also told a lot of times to my, even actually I whenever I'm telling to my kids also, give the same thing. Not at that level, even from this level only, you need to get into that mode of okay, just go fast, right? So there are some points, okay, or there are some positions where you need to think a little bit thing, but that should not be the common across all the decision points what you're making, right?
exactly.
So yeah.
Like it shouldn't get rid of intentionality by any means,
Correct.
but just strive for progress over perfection.
Perfect, perfect. Thanks, Momo. With that, we'll end this thing. And
Okay.
thanks a lot for joining us on this, a podcast series of GrowthFit series by CustomFit AI.
Oh,
And I'm sure that there is a lot our audience can take notes from this particular session.
yeah.
And yeah, thanks a lot again.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashwin. It's been great chatting with you.
Thank you.